Hello my friends, my name is Artur Rehi and I am an Estonian soldier. Usually I make videos about US weapons or battles that US has won or something good about the US, but today's topic could be considered as a failure by the US Army. Vietnam War. Yes, some people would say, oh, we didn't lose it, we withdrew. Yes, the US troop withdrew from the Vietnam, but the communists took over the country, so in my eyes it's a loss. Communism means a lot of suffering for everybody and no freedom, so definitely a loss in my eyes. Feel free to take it personally. Yes, we're gonna watch a video about Vietnam War today. But before we do have some patrons to name. Patrons are heroes. Do you wanna be a hero? Become a patron. Ryan Stevens, thank you for becoming a patron. Ronald Husbands, Mr. Husbands, hey, thank you for becoming a patron. Finally, George Cook. Thank you, George Cook, for becoming a patron. You could do the same, would help me out a lot. A lot of people think actually that I am on army payroll. Let me tell you, I'm a conscript, I'm an ex-conscript, ex-soldier. In Estonia, conscripts do not get paid. We get supported by like $120 a month, that is all. And I don't get that even now, so YouTube is my only income, just to clear that out. Not working for the army.
Today's episode, How America's Mission in Vietnam Failed.
Yeah,
this video is sponsored by War Thunder. More on that later.
Napalm bombings. Good old Vietnam.
Good morning, Vietnam, and everywhere else. The Vietnam conflict is one of the most controversial chapters in US history and helped define an entire generation. Its enduring notoriety can be traced to a number of factors. These included unprecedented media coverage and widespread distrust of the American government. To help understand this watershed moment, we're asking the question of how a global superpower suffered such a humiliating defeat. Before we talk about America's defeat in Vietnam, we'll have to talk about Vietnam under French rule, which started in the latter half of the 19th century. Since Europeans are just so great at listening to native people and respecting their pre-existing geographic borders, they decided to call this region, which includes modern-day Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, Indochina. Presumably because it's sandwiched between India and China, it was all very subtle and creative.
Horrible.
France quickly and decisively established themselves in this region, quelling any uprisings and forcing local rulers to cooperate with French colonial administrators. But this changed during the Second World War. In 1940, France was occupied by Germany, leaving their colonial territory largely undefended, and Japan was quick to seize this opportunity. Some initially saw the Japanese as Asian liberators, but were quickly disillusioned by the sheer brutality of the new regime, and now
yeah, the Japanese are known to be even worse than the Nazis and even worse than the communists. We don't really talk about Japan on this channel in the Second World War. We've talked about the Nazis, the communists, but not Japan. They don't really talk about Japan also in the history classes, what they really did. In US, they only talk about the Pearl Harbor and some battles that the US won, but they don't talk about the monstrosities that they did, the genocide that they did, how many they killed and burned, and it is, you know, you definitely can compare it to Nazis. There's a strong comparison there.
Nationalist sentiments began to sweep the nation, calling for self-governance. Once the Allies had secured victory in 1945, the French returned to Indochina, and everyone was just so happy to see them, especially the Vietnam Independence League, or Viet Minh. This group of armed insurgents was led by the once exiled intellectual Ho Chi Minh, who was staunchly anti-colonialist. At this point, the United States was in a bind, as they once supported the Viet Minh against the Japanese during the Second World War. But French stability was seen as an important element in stopping communism from spreading into Southeast Asia, and Minh's anti-colonialist stance was something decidedly Bolshevik in influence. Despite French calls for support during the 1940s and 50s, the United States ultimately decided not to send troops to Vietnam. By 1954, France had completely pulled out of Indochina after 7 long years of bloodshed, splitting the area between communist-aligned North Vietnam and an unpopular and generally corrupt Western-aligned South Vietnam. But peace wouldn't last long. In 1955, fighting continued, but this time between North and South. President Kennedy, like Eisenhower, was hesitant to put boots on the ground in Vietnam after the humiliating defeat of France. But after Kennedy's assassination in 1963, Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson, seeing communism threaten the status quo in Asia once more, ramped up US involvement after the
I mean, yeah, back then, right now you wouldn't think about this, but right now NATO is spreading the same way. NATO has spread throughout Europe, and now it is Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, all of those countries bordering Russia are in NATO. Ukraine wants to be, and it is spreading like wildfire if you compare it to the decades. But back then it was communism that spread like that, and this domino image here is very correct actually. If it spreads to your neighboring country, it could spread to your country. It's like a virus. Very dangerous. It is a right way to react and stop it spreading. I am for that. Although maybe there are better ways than the napalm indigenous peoples, but yes, I wasn't there. I don't know how to fight guerrilla warfare. I mean, US try to fight the guerrilla warfare with conventional measures, which is impossible, as we know now. But this is hindsight. Back then, nobody did know that.
The late summer of 1964, when it was claimed that 2 US ships that were aiding the South Vietnamese military came under attack by communist forces in the Gulf of Tonkin. Congress soon gave President Johnson the authority to send US troops, and by early 1965, thousands were deployed. Now that we know why exactly America found itself in Vietnam, let's find out how it all went wrong. The American soldiers in Vietnam were fighting.
I mean, up to this point, this is the biggest and most powerful nation in the world coming to win a war within a few months. This is what it looks like to everybody, because they're so powerful, so big. They have the weapons, the ships, the air force. They're probably going to win in 3 months and stop the communism from spreading. Yay, happy ending. So far, so good.
2 enemies, whose battle tactics were well honed through years of combat against the French and Japanese. The first were southern insurgents called the Viet Cong, and the second were the more organized North Vietnamese Army, or NVA. The NVA was well supplied by the Soviet Union and China, and fought with aggressive guerrilla tactics that the US was in most ways unprepared for.
US used conventional measures up to that point, which was the same problem with Russia, that Soviet Union, when they went to Afghanistan, they used conventional measures learned from the Nazi blitzkrieg, and they put it to use against Afghanistan guerrillas. Didn't work, they lost. And same in the US here, Second World War, against Nazis you needed conventional measures, and very strongly you did, but here you cannot use the same measures. And the US war experience right now comes from the Second World War, and those experiences you cannot use in Vietnam War because it's a guerrilla warfare. Much difference. Jungle warfare, you don't see your enemy, you don't smell him, you don't hear him, but he's shooting at you. You can't shoot back. So yeah, napalm the whole place, I guess. Well friends, yesterday I had a chat with the generals in my Discord. Not a chat, I mean it was a call. Every week we do a call, we talk. If I have some questions, I do videos and I get something wrong, they explain things to me. We have some army vets, we have some active military personnel. So I suggest you join. Become a member of this channel, join the Discord, you'll automatically get a role if you pick general, for example. And let's have a call once a week. You can give me your knowledge. I think if you're watching my videos, you have some knowledge about these topics. I'm very interested about this, and this is how I learn, through you guys. We have a cool chat, we talk. And then you can, put your input to my videos if you want to. In the future, in August, we're going to do a video together with the general. So if you want to be in that video, just become a member of this channel, pick a general role, and join the Discord.
General William Westmoreland led the American Army in Vietnam and waged a strictly attrition-based defensive war. Westmoreland was known to have let politics dictate his decision-making process, as policymakers in Washington instead wanted statistics and numbers to show that they were winning. Success was measured by body counts, but counterintuitively, the more bombs that were dropped and the more people that were killed, the more support the North Vietnamese gained. The US was attempting to wage a conventional war, as they did in Korea, but the non-uniformed Viet Cong were highly mobile and unidentifiable, avoiding direct confrontations whenever they could, relying on ambushes, booby traps, and similar tactics to grind at US morale. The result of this strategy was that there were no actual front lines. While the Viet Cong frustrated US troops in the south, the NVA commander, Vo Nguyen Giap, also knew that a conventional war was impossible to win, and focused on winning over the people through an extensive propaganda network. He is quoted saying, "Do not fear the enemy, for they can only take your life. Fear the media far more, for they will destroy your honor." The Americans, meanwhile, believed that their attrition strategy was successful, and Westmoreland was predicting an imminent end of the war. But unbeknownst to him, Vietnamese forces...
You cannot destroy an idea. If people accept communism as a way out from this enemy, from US, you're doomed, because you can't kill everybody. You can't kill the women or the children, and in the end even they can fight if they believe in that idea. So here we're gonna strictly see if your enemy is not a soldier, but everybody, the whole people, you cannot win unless you are Stalin and just kill everyone. And US does not do that, so you need to win over the people. The Vietnamese leader was right. You need to win over the people, and then you can destroy the enemy as soldiers. You know, you can destroy the pockets of resistance, but if the whole land is against you, this war is lost, I think. Do you think you have everything in life? Do you? Wrong! You don't! If Russia attacks Estonia, I'm going to have to take two things to war. First of all, I'll take my weapon. This is my weapon. This is what I'll go with. It doesn't have a magazine because this is not allowed. Second of all, should I take Estonian soldier uniform or Estonian soldier hat? I have made my decision. I am ready for war. This is how I will go. See, you don't have everything in your life. You don't have this hat. This hat is amazing. Go and get it. The link is in the description below. Estonia and America need you. You can just get it from my Shopify. It is that easy. And you know what? It is free shipping. Free shipping, wow! I'm gonna get 10! Oh, so many hats! I wanna send them all out to you, my friends, and I'll do it for free shipping because I can. And that is a fact. Oh, free shipping! Yeah! If you already have a weapon and you're in America, you're only lacking this, so go and get it. Link is in the description below. Don't have to pay for shipping. It will look magnificent. You can get 3 different colors. Estonian soldier hat will not let you down, and that is a fact, my friends. Until my next video, stay cool and bye bye. I need to get myself one of those hats. This would look good on my barbecue. Hoorah!
Forces were effectively using the Ho Chi Minh Trail to move large amounts of supplies through neutral Laos, despite being bombed almost every hour. By 1968, the US illusion of imminent victory was shattered by the Tet Offensive. The brutal campaign saw over 80,000 NVA and Viet Cong troops attack more than 100 cities throughout the country, including the South Vietnamese capital of Saigon. Much of the fighting, such as in Hue, became the war's bloodiest battles. Despite launching such an ambitious attack, the NVA made few if any tangible gains, but it struck a devastating blow to American morale, not only back in the United States but also in the field. At home, the leaking of the Pentagon Papers also dispelled any justifications for the war and revealed atrocities such as the My Lai massacre, further increasing an anti-war sentiment across the country. And a so-called credibility gap began.
Yeah, since the US troops did not know who to shoot and how to deal with the enemy they cannot see, then a lot what happened was they napalmed the whole jungles, whole villages. The troops all shot civilians also because they could take up weapons any moment now. It was easier to kill every man that you see than to take a chance that they might be a farmer or they might be a Viet Cong soldier. It was easier just to kill everybody, and I cannot blame them. It was an impossible situation for them. I mean, it was their life or the enemy's life. But things got out. Photos got out, videos got out, and the information and the hippies in the US, I mean, grew out of that. People saw that, those images saw that their own government is doing genocide, and they became hippies and, you know, started protesting. It's not hipster nowadays, it's hippie, the original one that protested against Vietnam War, against violence. Nowadays it's like a meme or something, you make fun of those people, but actually they had a true reason back then. Oh, Twinkies! Oh, I love Twinkies! All of these Twinkies were sent by one of you guys. We have a letter with the Twinkies. Hello Artur, I saw that you enjoyed our American Twinkies. Oh yes I do. And had to send you some. I also included 2 patches and some other treats I hope you enjoy. These are the 2 patches, US Air Force and 4th but 1st. I don't know the history of this, but if you do, then let me know in the comments please. The US Air Force patch I wore while I was deployed in the Middle East. Alright, so you wore this. Very cool, this has history. The other patch is from my home unit, the 4th Fighter Wing at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in North Carolina. 4th Fighter Wing. Press F to respect the 4th Fighter Wing, my friends. I am a photojournalist in the Air Force and have been for 4 years. I already re-enlisted for another 6 years. Way to go, my friend. I hope you enjoy the patches and snacks. Senior Airman Ken B. Thank you, Ken, for sending me the patches and Twinkies. These will go up next to the NATO flag, so they'll get plenty of attention and plenty of fame. We can't buy Twinkies in Estonia, so if you want to send me military patches or some cool thing connected to the military, just send it. The address is here. I'll feature it in the video. But yes, Ken, thank you for the Twinkies. European Union does not allow such horrible treats as Twinkies because they're really bad for you, but I love them, so thank you. They will last me a month.
And to grow between what the public was told and what they believed. As William Westmoreland himself would later say, "It's the first war we've ever fought on the television screen, and the first war that our country ever fought where the media had full reign." The casualties suffered in the war were now seen in a new light, with so many men having been lost thus far on the other side of the world, and they weren't even winning, while the NVA could strike at any time. Faced with a crushingly negative public opinion, the American government was forced to withdraw the nation's forces in 1973, and 2 years later, the NVA finally captured Saigon, ending the conflict.
Yeah, as soon as you pull out, the communists win. It could go the other way, but in Vietnam's example, yeah, the communists win. Vietnam is communist till nowadays. It has some capitalist parts about it, but it is communist, and there are no civil rights and there's no human rights, child labor, all of that stuff. It is horrible. Communism is horrible. I would have hoped that the US would have won the Vietnam War, one less country in the world to suffer in the end. But yes, the price was too high, I guess, and they had to pull out. Very soon I'm making the video about Texas. I promised you the flag is on the way. I'm putting it up. If you don't know, then we had a competition, cup competition, Estonian YouTuber Cup. Texas won it, so I'm gonna put the flag up. I'm gonna make the history video about Texas, and then we have a new product, right? Maybe something will happen to this one also. Maybe some little competition. I'm not saying anything yet, but after I make the video, we will see. As always, my friends, until my next video, stay cool and bye bye.